We continue with you here on News Radio WRVA. The polls are getting tighter. Who will succeed Glenn Youngkin, also our lieutenant governor, and the attorney general's race? To join us right now, I have a special guest joining us right now from Trafalgar polling. Robert Cahaly joining us here. You might recognize his name. I know you'd recognize his face in the bow tie from seeing him on Fox News,
Mm.
a lot of different channels. He's the one guy who has been so spot on with polls over the last decade. And I'm excited to have him join us here on News Radio WRVA. Mr. Cahaly, Robert, it's such a pleasure to be able to talk to you. Thanks for joining us this morning.
Yes, sir. You're too kind.
Well, let's talk about it. You were the one that called the last presidential election. You've been spot on with a lot of polls over the years, getting lots of respect amongst your peers and amongst the pundits. So you have a new poll that's come out in Virginia on our governor's race, along with the rest of the ticket. Please share with us what your latest findings are.
Well, we've seen we did two polls, and this is the second one, and we saw the governor's race tighten from a 5% margin for Spanberg to a 3% margin. So that is tightened. The lieutenant governor's race was a 4% margin for Hassel. Is that how you say it?
Hashmi, yeah, Ghazala Hashmi.
Hashmi. And now it is a 1% margin that in that race. And the attorney general's race is where we had a major switch. We've had Jones up by 4 to Mieres up by 6. So that's a 10-point swing in that race.
So let's talk about the trends that we're seeing. These have been double-digit leads, at least for the governor's race, through most of the summer and now into the fall. What are you seeing as far as the trend going, the momentum going into this election right now for the governor's race?
Well, we've certainly seen it tighten, and we even saw during the course of that polling, we saw it get tighter at various different nights. Apparently I found out after the fact that there was a debate in the middle of it, and then we got some of the people had mentioned the debate, and I was like, oh, so I went back and actually watched it, but I did not realize it was happening at the time. But we got some. I think that polling encompasses a little bit of the feedback from the debate. And some of that was very positive for Sears, and some of it was negative. That there was a lot of positive about how hard she pushed on the fact that Spanberg would not, uh, you know, withdraw her endorsement for Jones, but there was also feedback that she was a little too argumentative and during the debate. So but I feel like from what I could see, it was a net positive because the polls definitely got tighter after the debate. So, but what we're seeing here is really kind of reminds me of North Carolina back last year when the whole thing came out about the governor nominee and all of his a lot of crazy statements, things that were said, and it kind of started affecting the whole ticket. Now, in those cases, the other Republicans distanced themselves and someone withdrew their support. What we're seeing in Virginia is very different. That the candidates are not backing off their support in the way they did in North Carolina, and so I think we're seeing that Spanberg's paying a little bit of a price for that.
So as I listen to you, and I want to talk a little bit about the polls, and I've learned this garbage in, garbage out, depending on how you sample and what you look at. Very interesting that you said your poll took place in the middle of the debate, and we've had a firestorm after that debate. How would that, knowing that there was a debate or not knowing having a debate, help or hinder your polling?
Well, first of all, what people need to understand is a very, very small amount of people will watch a debate. Now, so it'll have a little bit of effect on a poll. But what a debate does is the clips and segments from it will circulate on social media and in TV ads. And so the real impact of a debate is felt in the 5 to 10 days after the debate. So we saw a little bit of movement. Our next poll will probably get a better a snapshot of the actual aftermath because you know, as you might recall, the little clips from these things, uh, just in the little moments, people who never saw the debate will get a sense of what happened just by the clips that they saw of it.
And that really is the way that we look at modern politics in 2025. This isn't where the nation gathers around and we're all watching Reagan debating Carter. This is a clip here, a clip there, and then it ends up on TikTok, Instagram, YouTube, and Twitter, and then being passed around on YouTube is how people really digest these. So, would you say that this is trending in the way of the Republicans and that they're picking up some momentum and maybe picking up some enthusiasm on their side?
I think we could safely say that that's happening. Whether it will be enough is another question, but it is the timing is very beneficial to them right now. There's enough time, and what we've also seen is that the first group of people that were moving more toward Sears and away from Svanberg were the older folks, those in the 65 and older crowd. And that's a group that watches more traditional TV, sees a lot more traditional ads, and pays a little more attention to politics. Now, that next big block of the 45 to 65, now that crowd is much, that they're busy, a lot of them have kind of, are doing streaming and not even like watching traditional TV. So they're, in general, they're harder to get to. They're harder to get messages to. And so where I think what will eventually tell us where this race is going to go is whether that crowd moves, because that crowd's the next crowd that if Sears is to have a chance to win, that crowd has got to move more
You,
toward her.
I saw Governor Youngkin yesterday, and he's come on the show and he's talked to us before. He said, "Hey, listen, I was in the same boat as Winston Earl Sears was 4 years ago. Nobody gave me a chance. I was down by double digits as we hit Labor Day, and then I was able to close the gap." He ended up having the moment where Terry McAuliffe made a faux pas during a debate that got
Oh, I remember.
ramification around the country. This looks like it's the same type, but maybe not as severe, but certainly getting a lot of play. Is there something to what the governor says about momentum in that one big moment that can either make or break you?
There's absolutely, and the thing is, this may end up being bigger because the thing is, we are still very much we're still in that kind of period after the Kirk assassination, where people are super sensitive. I mean, this guy talking about shooting his opponents, and even talking about the little fascist children. I mean, as the expression goes, it's too soon. It is absolutely too soon to be talking like that way. And so I think the more people realize, I mean, it really does come down to can can Sears e- articulate or explain the fact that it says something about Spanberger that she will not distance herself or just calling him to drop out. If she can make that case and to enough people, I think that could be her momentum shifter. But that I think is really essential.
It,
And I
it,
saw in the debate the way she pushed it at the very beginning.
Well, it's interesting because I've told many people. I said, "Listen, the rabbit attack dog, the Trumpian way that Winston Earl Sears. Yeah, if you watch the debate, it probably turned you off. Probably had some people like, oh boy, I just not sure I like that temperament." But like you said, the amount of people that watch the debate, and the further away we get from the debate, people are starting to forget about Winston Sears being on the attack. But this whole idea of Spanberger not answering the question, now the commercials we see following that big moment seems like it's resonating more throughout the state.
Absolutely. Like I said, the few people that we got feedback from, you're exactly right. The number of people who actually watch these debates is so small, and to make the case that Sears constantly was interrupting. You don't have time in a 30-second ad to give 7 examples. So it's just it doesn't feed itself into a soundbite. So, but
Interesting.
the other points do. The way she called her out on not only that, but on the illegal aliens and on the bathrooms. And so, I mean, all those feed themselves well into um, sound bites that are useful.
Well, Mr. Cahaly, I appreciate you joining us. When is your next poll coming out? When can we expect some more results?
We probably will have one that we'll put out at some point this week, and you know, you might have see us talking about it on Hannity this week too. You never
Wow.
know.
Hey, listen, like I said, there's nobody that rocks that bow tie on there like you. My friend Hugh Joyce has them. You have them. I don't think I can pull those off, but we'll see. But when that other poll comes out, let's keep in touch because I'd love to invite you back on to talk about that. Again, I'll remind everybody, and he's not going to brag, but Mr. Cahaly called the governor's race. He said that our Governor Youngkin was going to win by 2 points. He won by 1.9. You were the only one that had it that close, so that's why we're relying on you, wanting to hear the information you have.
And we
Thank
were
you.
the best one in New Jersey too last year,
100%. You
about
nailed
4
it
years
with
ago.
you nailed it there. You nailed it with Donald Trump. People turn to you for all this information. Love to get you back on when that next poll pops out.
All right, well, great. You guys have a good morning.
All right, thank you so much. We'll continue. It's News Radio WRVA.